All right. Good afternoon, Dr. Parlato. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Peter.
So we're here today, and we're just trying to get some clarification. And the first question being, can you explain what the proposed budget cut entails and how it compares to the district's request?
Sure. So our request was for 3.93% over our 24-25 budget. And so the current percentage that we're at with the reductions is a 1.24% increase, which is a reduction of about $1.975 million from what we had asked for.
Understood. So the next question being, if the referendum passes, what specific areas will be most affected?
Well, like 78% of our budget overall has to do with salaries and benefits.
Okay.
And so certainly what would be most impacted would be our personnel. And
Understood.
yes. And so we would have to look at the loss of some personnel within our school district.
And what does that number look like as far as personnel?
Well, as of yesterday, what I had to do was provide notices of non-renewal to 62 of our staff members.
Okay.
And the way that our state law works is that I have to notify those people by May 1st.
Okay.
And that is when it's for budgetary reasons. The law allows me to notice them, and if I am able to rescind or withdraw those notices of non-renewal based upon the outcome of the budget, then I'm able to rescind or take those notices back. But as of right now, because there is uncertainty about where the number is going to land, we had to provide those notices to 62 people, which was, of course, very difficult. We had 3 very challenging days communicating that to staff, and it's hard for them not to take that personally because it feels to them like they're not valued.
So how might this affect students directly?
So anytime you have a loss of staff or a loss of personnel, there are a few things that might occur. One is that you will have larger class sizes. So we would have to take a look at what that impact would be across all of our grade levels. Next would be not offering certain electives possibly or certain programming because those teachers just wouldn't exist to teach those courses if we have to reduce them.
Understood.
So there's a direct impact on class size, programming potentially, potentially student co-curricular or extracurricular activities based upon the amount of staff members that we might have to lose.
Okay. So what message are you trying to convey to voters before they prepare to go to the polls?
So I will say that one of the most notable things about our school district is that our budgeting is absolutely very, very honest, and we only ask for what we need. And so when we came forward, both my proposed budget and the Board of Education adopted budget at 3.93% of an increase, a lot of that had to do with our fixed costs.
Understood.
And so we had fixed costs of about 3.2%. I was really only asking for 0.55%. So we weren't asking for that much in our budget. If we knew that we were able to reduce such a large amount, we would have made that proposal. But we knew we couldn't lose that number of staff. We knew that we needed those people to support our students. And so we didn't come forward with a 1.24 because it's not possible. So certainly I would ask the residents to consider the honesty of our budgeting practices, to trust that we ask for what we need, and that there isn't extra in our budget. It's truly to support our students' growth and their progress.
Understood. So how can the public become better informed before voting? Is there any resources that they could take a look at, or websites or anything like that? So
certainly we have our newmilfordps.org website, and there is a budget section on there.
Okay.
Also, though, we do have social media. So I have on Instagram, it's at nmps_super.
Okay.
And I have information about the budget on there, including some graphics that show what our requests are. As well as Facebook. So there's New Milford Public School Superintendent's Office.
Okay.
And again, there's information about the budget found there.
Understood.
And also I will communicate with parents. Once we know for sure what the referendum date is, I will provide a summary to parents of exactly where we stand with the budget.
Okay, great. And certainly I'll in the Facebook and Instagram post, I'll provide some of these links. We could talk after. And
Sure.
I'll make sure that I put that information in so everyone can be informed.
Yes, for sure.
So the next question being is, what's your response to residents who feel taxes are already too high, even if it means cutting the budget?
So I know for sure that times are tough, not only in our state, in our nation, in terms of a real financial crunch for families and for citizens. One thing I would ask people to consider is that the investment in the school system is one of the most wise that someone can make. It helps to protect one's property value, for sure. It increases the reputation of the community, bringing in more businesses and bringing in more dollars to the town.
Okay.
And so, thinking about what the average tax increase might be, potentially $150, which is a lot of money for sure, spread out over 12 months. However, it has to be seen as an investment in the town, and particularly the students that we have, all the way from ages 3 to 22 is the age range.
Okay.
And those are students and kids who will contribute to this community forever.
Understood.
Yes.
So if the referendum fails, what are the next steps for the district? And I know that question, you don't have any control over it, but, what are some of the effects that it might have regarding you guys?
So if the referendum fails, we'll have to wait for the next referendum to occur. And before that referendum, we'll know if any funds are added back or if we stay the same, or if more funds are reduced, hopefully not. However, what the impact for the school district is, it really prevents us from hiring until we know exactly what our budget is going to be. And so the longer that we wait to hire, the smaller the candidate pools become, and it becomes more difficult to hire.
Understood.
So that's definitely a big challenge of waiting for another referendum. However, if it means potentially that we get some funds added back and we have to go to second referendum, then that might be worth it. But just the large impact is thinking about hiring.
Understood. So the last question I have for you is, what is your vision moving forward, regardless of the outcome of the vote?
Oh, so we think a lot about the student experience within New Milford Public Schools. So beginning particularly at pre-K to 5, we're really reinforcing these skills of reading, writing, mathematics, and the foundational knowledge that students need to be successful. And then as we move across the grade levels, really getting students to think about career pathways and how they can go forward and think about what skills and ideas and dispositions they need to succeed within their career, whatever that might be in the future. So that work and the work of progressing the district and improving us every day, that never stops. It's just that one of the things that we have to be very careful of is thinking about our budget, how the budget works, and that's a big part of a school district, but the progress work never stops.
Understood. Well, Dr. Parlato, I greatly appreciate you coming out here today. It's a beautiful day.
It is.
Thank you for your time and energy, and I look
you're
forward to
welcome.
more conversations.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much. Take care, guys. Broke Billionaire signing out.